You're listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar, the top-rated DFS tool set and #1 companion for DraftKings, FanDuel, and Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Go LineStar Premium now at LineStarApp.com. Now, here are your hosts, fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to the On Deck podcast right here on the LineStar app. It's me, it's Chris Meaney, and welcome to the weekend edition. If Friday was a slate that was fraught with traps, oh my goodness, this weekend, so many wonderful pitching matchups that we want to target. And yeah, sure, other people will too. But Chris, we've got a lot on the line here. We've got some aces that need to show up again and some aces that have some spectacular opponent matchups coming into Saturday slate at the very least. My goodness, there's going to be a whole lot of cash game play that might even turn into some tournament wins.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a different slate compared to Friday. Yeah, Welcome to the show, guys. Let's try to win some money for everybody. Happy Easter. But there are a lot of studs on the board. I mean, Friday we were trying to just pick through a couple pitchers that we were going to go with. And Saturday, I mean, there's going to be some tough decisions. We got Jacob deGrom on the hill. We got Max Scherzer on the hill. Your boy Luis Castillo. We got Garrett Cole, Aaron Nola. Like, there are some stud pitchers on the board. Trevor Bauer's another one. I just kind of skipped over him. Like, there's a lot of studs. Tie on as well. Like,
it's crazy. You're gonna find some cheap bats. You got to find them somewhere. I don't know where we're gonna find them, but we're gonna have to. We might have to go even oppo on somebody. We'll find out here. I have a sneaking suspicion of where I'm gonna start. That's for sure. So we're gonna start in the 1 o'clock games here on Saturday, and you got Heath Fillmyer, who I believe someone took his stapler. I'm pretty sure Heath Fillmyer is still looking for his red stapler. He can't find it anywhere, and it's really frustrating to him. He's taking on Masahiro Tanaka. And look, you know what? If you want to take a notch below all those guys and beef up offensively, this is the one to do it. It's Tanaka against Kansas City. He's at home. He's against Fillmyer. This should be a W. Now, I know this is a trap because we've fallen into this a lot this year, but I think Tanaka can get it done here against Kansas City. Is this fool's gold? Am I going to get fooled again here? Because, I mean, how many times am I going to get punched in the face by the Yankees at home against matchups they should win?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's been 6 or 7 times at least this team has not lived up to expectations. Have been minus 200 favorites multiple times, and they haven't won. But, yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity, I think, at least, you know, if you want to take the Yankees on the money line or take them by 2 runs, I think you can do that. From a DFS standpoint, I mean, just stay clear, man. Like, they should have success against Fillmyer. Like, I skipped over him when I was talking about the studs. But jokes aside, this guy does not strike anybody out, and he walks a lot of guys. It's a very small sample size in his major league career. He only has 90 innings, 90.1, and he's got a 6.08 K per 9 and a 3.49 walks per 9. So that's obviously not good.
No, it's not good.
It's not at all. So maybe the Yankees will wake up, maybe some of their bats, but they just, for as much as they've struggled, Joe, there's no discount on these guys. Like, there's nothing.
That's you're right, and that's the misery of it. But there have been discounts on the Tigers and Chicago White Sox lately, and that's the next game on the slate here at 1 o'clock. Now, granted, keep an eye. Weather could be tricky all weekend, but, you know, we pre-record the show for the weekend, so that goes without saying, yet I said it anyway. It's a funny phrase, isn't it? That goes without saying, but you always usually say something that goes without saying first. But why did you say it? I don't know. Whatever. But Irvin Santana and Daniel Norris means runs. I like the Detroit lineup. We talked on Friday's show about Castellanos and about Cabrera heating up a little bit, and same thing over on the White Sox side. So Eloy, Brayu's been grossly underpriced, so a lot of those guys are back in play. Tim Anderson as well. Jacob deGrom takes on the Cardinals. Now, deGrom has not been good lately. Okay, back-to-back non-quality starts in matchups that, frankly, should have basically DeGrommed the opponent. He's taking on Miles Mikolas in this one. Is it time to get back on the DeGrom train, or are we saying, nah, screw that, we're going to try to move on to another guy here in the early games?
I'm going to move on. Okay. I really am. I think
it's fair.
Yeah, I'm going to play multiple lineups, and I may have some small exposure to them, like 1 or 2, just to maybe because people may be feeling like I am, stay away from him in a matchup against St. Louis. But you're right, he hasn't looked the same. We've talked a lot about stud pitchers, out of the gate really slow. 53% hard hit rate is not normal for DeGrom. It's the 5th highest mark in baseball. He's up there with guys that, are not great, right? He doesn't belong in that category. But right now he's getting hit hard, and there's some bats in St. Louis that, there's some pop in their bats. There's some guys who make good contact. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of stay clear. And, I think when we talk about some of these stud pitchers and you're going to have to get on some bats, you mentioned Detroit, and we were in on them Friday. I think it's a great opportunity to target some Tigers bats against Santana, who's been a gas can over the past little while. He's got 15 home runs his last 30 innings, Joe.
That game's got 6-5 written all over it.
So maybe just stay clear of DeGrom, and we can spend up elsewhere.
Yeah, well, look, you got Greinke taking on Yu Darvish and the Cubs in here too, which is going to be I lean towards Greinke in this matchup. It's going to depend on pricing, depending on which site you're playing on, also where the discount is, if any. I imagine you'll get not a huge discount on Greinke. Like it's like the notch below if you just don't want, if there's bats you like and you just can't get to the DeGrom level, you just can't get to the Trevor Bauer level, then Greinke is that slight fade from the top of those guys, which I'm fine with. Now, however, we did the Yu Darvish on Monday.
Yeah, we sweated that one out in Miami.
We did it, and I'm not nope. I'm taking the pass. I did it, and you walk away, and you continue to leave on a high note. You're not going back to Yu Darvish, are you?
No.
No.
That was a good matchup in Miami. We like I said, we sweated out. He's still walking a ton of guys, right? I mean, he's got 15 walks.
He's not a good pitcher at this point.
Innings. No, he's not.
Derek Holland and Jameson Taillon on Saturday tie up there in this one. I do like Taillon in this one. This is another guy like Greinke. If you're looking for a little more cost efficient with two pitchers in there that are very, very strong matchup potential, I think that. And look, the Cubs haven't hit much either, so neither have San Francisco. So I think Taillon and Greinke are two guys I can get behind in that middle tier, pairing those guys together. A little bit more cost effective than maybe going up to the top for a Bauer and then down to somebody else that you just don't like. And also depends on how you're going to break up the slate, too, and which site you're playing on, because the Nationals game is at 6, which you're going to get to in a second. Shoemaker takes on Fires here. I'm going to go back to that Blue Jays middle of the order. I'm going to go back to Grichuk, and I'm going to go back to Smoke, and I'm going to go back to Teoscar Hernandez. I like all three of them in this one. Shoemaker has been a guy that's been pretty good all year. Do you like him against the A's in this ballpark? Is that another fade from the top of the guys rotation-wise on the Saturday afternoon slate?
I do like Shoemaker, and he's had some success. Obviously, former Angel, he's had some success pitching in Oakland against this A's team. He can strike guys out, can limit the walks, and he's off to a really good start this season. So I do like Shoemaker, and that's the stack, I think. I got a couple written down here as maybe just cheap stacks because there's some pitchers that are – you mentioned Taillon. I think Taillon is the way to go for me. San Fran ranks 27th, 28th, 29th, or 30th in every single offensive category. I'm talking average, WOBA, on base percentage, slugging, home runs, runs. So I think Taillon is a strong option. And then the Jays are going to be affordable against Fires. I know it's in Oakland, but
that's why it's going to be oddly affordable because of the ballpark factor. Exactly. And I don't care. I mean,
right.
They'll score runs in that ballpark as long as Mike Fires is on the hill. Trevor Bauer taking on Tehran at 4:00 Eastern time in Cleveland. Now, the weather the night before is going to be mucky. We'll see if that carries over or not. But look, this is that line we've been walking with Cleveland all year. It all depends upon how you and whether or not Friday, if that had gotten rained out, if Uber gets bumped and how that all works out. But look, Trevor Bauer, like all the other Indians guys, good matchups are nice to have. It's nice to have him on the hill, but that offense we're just not 100% sold on still. I know Lindor's coming back soon. That's good. That's a positive thing for this lineup. But what is your take on Bauer in this slate when you compare him to the other guys?
Yeah, he's just kind of – I love Bauer. I think he's phenomenal. The walk's definitely an issue. Going to rack up some strikeouts. But the Braves are a team that I just feel like it's a contrarian play. I really do. Like, to spend up against the Braves, they can get to any pitcher. They really can. I mean, their offense is great. If there's one thing I'll say, they just don't strike out a ton. So Bauer may not be the best option. Overall, he's probably my third or fourth. I think there's other options I'd rather spend up on.
Okay, and the one guy I do want to spend up on, it's on a 6:00 game, so it depends on how you break it all up. It's Max Scherzer against Jose Urena in Miami. Oh, yes, all the Max Scherzer, please. Don't care. I mean, whatever. Drop 50, drop 60, whatever it is. It's Max Scherzer. It's double-digit strikeouts. It's a W.
It's guaranteed.
It's guaranteed points. Just
and
don't
look who he's
cute.
playing.
Look, don't get cute, okay? Don't get cute. And take Juan Soto and pair him up there. Soto and Scherzer show, and then try to figure it out. And we can. If you're taking some of the guys on the Blue Jays side, if you're taking some of the guys on Detroit and Chicago. I think you could get some work done there and make it work. Porcello and Charlie Morton in this one. Look, at 6 o'clock, Tampa offense, has been pretty decent. I'm going to go back to that Choi well and Tommy Pham and some of those other guys in this one too. It's hard to argue. Porcello's guy who's imminently hittable. And I'll tell you what, Charlie Morton's another one of these guys as a secondary pitcher, especially very much in play. And I think the ownership will be lower because it's Boston, but Boston hasn't earned that this year for me.
No, he hasn't. No, they haven't
He's
at all.
the perfect guy in terms of ownership being low, but good return on investment on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. The Red Sox bats, I know, so slow. I like I said, I'd like to jump on them sometimes in the road dogs, but not when they're going up against a good pitcher. I like Charlie Morton a lot. And for Porcello, I mean, it's just been so bad for him. 12 walks in 11 innings. He's given up 3 homers. Last year, he gave up 27 bombs. The year before that, 38 bombs. He's allowed at least 23 home runs in each of his last 4 seasons. So we've been talking Rays all week, Joe. Continue to jump on some of these bats. Yeah.
All right. Martin Perez of the Minnesota Twins takes on Dan Straley of the Orioles. And there's going to be a whole lot of offense in this one, boy, oh boy. Give me all of them. Give me Dwight Smith. Give me Mancini. I love those two guys in this matchup here against Perez. Love it to death. And again, we talked yesterday. It's funny. Some of the carry-over. The middle of the order for the Twins, Rosario, Cruz, Polanco.
Yep.
All those guys in this game too. And depending on how you're playing them, if the night slate has got Scherzer in it, you might get some discounts there on some of the Orioles and stuff like that. But look, that's where your offense is. There's got to be runs in this game. This is not a 2-1 game.
No.
Not with these guys.
Straley has a 46% fly ball rate for his career and 47% hard hit rate last year. So there's going to be an opportunity for the Twins to go yard. Yeah, give me some revenge Cruz. I think he's going to have a big weekend.
By the way, how did that that last start for Martin Perez, right? He actually did go 6 innings.
He did.
5 strikeouts. He walked 2. It was against Toronto, was at home. But so, it's a little different environment in Baltimore.
It is,
not that Toronto's easy, but
no, it wasn't a bad showing from him. I'll give him a little bit of credit there.
If Martin Perez has another good start here, and then a third one against a team of note, I will stop making fun of him. But until that happens,
we need to see a little bit more from him.
Eugen Ryu is going to take on the Brewers there. He's returning from his injury. This is a tough one for me because of the ballpark, so I'm going to fade Ryu in this slate. Brewers still TBD. That means depending on who does get that start, you might want to get involved in the Dodgers, who you've gotten no discount on anywhere.
No.
So it's just
Pollock on FanDuel. That's about it. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, a little bit of Pollock, sometimes Muncy. It's really the bottom half of that lineup you're getting the discount on. Garrett Cole and the Astros take on Adrian Sampson. So we were all over on Scherzer in the interim middle, depending on how you break up the day. If you are playing and Scherzer's part of that night slate, is Garrett Cole for a couple $100 less going to be worth it for you?
I think so, yeah. And just really looking at Cole last year and this year against Texas, man, he has just had a lot of success. Earlier this year, he had 9 strikeouts against Texas. He went 6 innings, hardly gave up anything. And then look at some of his strikeout totals last year. He faced Texas 4 times. Like, look at this outing: 11K in 7 innings, 14 in 7, 8 in 6, 7 in 5. Like, he just racks up strikeouts against Texas. And maybe people will shy away because it's in Texas and he can give up the home run here and there. But I think he's maybe a solid pivot off Scherzer, depending on what kind of format you're playing in.
All right, now moving on to the next one here. You've got, everybody wants Aaron Nola to get right, but I don't think it's going to happen in Colorado. It's just not.
It's the ultimate contrarian play.
It is. That's what I was going to say, the same exact thing. If you're just going to say, screw it.
I may dabble a little bit. I may have 1 or 2, but yeah, you're right. Nola has not looked good, Joe. He has struggled with command.
One.
Yeah, maybe just 1. I mean, Colorado, when I look overall at their numbers, striking out 26% of the time, 262 WOBA against right-handed pitching. That's the second worst mark in baseball, but they're getting some of their bats back, which will help their lineup a lot. And just for Nola, it's just really, if you're just looking to be different, that's all it is. I mean, you definitely can't trust him in cash, and you can't have a lot of exposure to him until he turns it around. You need to see it. Don't be wasting all your money.
All right. Now, I will be spending a lot of money on these next 2 pitchers in these last games here because these are my favorite 2 pairings. They're going to be cost effective. You're going to have to pay for them decent amount, especially Luis Castillo of the Reds going against the Padres. Reds bats starting to come around a little bit. That's a good thing. but Castillo has been lights out. I know that last game he didn't quite go his way, but still got the strikeouts. It just kind of fell apart at the end there. But look, he was getting squeezed a little bit too, so I think sometimes that enters into it. But going against Eric Lauer here in the Padres, love this matchup for Castillo. And then you say Kikuchi, I say yes.
Yeah, you should.
Another lefty against the Angels. Now, Trevor Cahill's been decent. He's been decent at times, but still, everything that we talked about with Marco Gonzalez on Friday, all that carries over to this start here against the Angels for Kikuchi as well. The lefty just give the Angels all kinds of problems so far this year.
Yeah, they really do. We mentioned it. You're right. It all carries over. Dead last year in average. So far this year, dead last in average in WOBA against lefties. So it carries over. And for Cahill, fly ball pitcher, there's an opportunity. You want some cheap bats in your lineup, like Ryan Healy is one of those guys who's very cheap. I mean, Domingo Santana's prices dropped down a little bit, and Beckham as well, since they've kind of cooled off, but they scored 11 on Thursday against the Angels. They're going to have a big weekend. And yeah, Cincy, I think that's the stack, right? We mentioned them on Friday. I think those are some cheap bats.
Cheap ones on FanDuel. So that if they are cheap again,
they should be.
I don't know why. I don't know if that was just against Strom and the lefty or whatever. I don't know. I just didn't get it.
Maybe they're just slow starts a little bit. The fact that they're playing at Petco. I mean, you can attack Lauer for sure. And for Suarez, 11 home runs, 426 WOBA against lefties last season. Kemp is a career 315 hitter against lefties. Votto has struggled, so his prices dropped down a little bit. He's hitting in the leadoff spot. So if you want to spend up at pitching, and you should, a couple guys, lots of options, it's the Jays that maybe you can attack, and Cincy that you can attack will, just be easy on your wallet.
All right, let's go over to Sunday and turn the page to the holiday. And you got Jorge Lopez against James Paxton. Now, Paxton coming off a huge start against the
Red Sox
strikeout performance against the Red Sox there. So, but Lopez is a guy who's been sneaky good. Okay, this is a guy that I've been looking at in some of the deeper leagues on waiver wires. And you look at the K-Walk; it's been good. If you're gonna troll this weekend, Jorge Lopez might be the troll. It might be he might be the Easter egg surprise. I'm just telling you. We talked about this Yankee lineup being a disappointment, and how they've struggled against teams they're supposed to beat at home. If I felt good about Tanaka, for some reason I feel terrible about a letdown here with Paxton. I don't know why. I can't support it statistically, except the fact that Lopez has pitched well, and maybe Paxton's just put a little bit undue pressure on himself, and maybe there's a letdown after that Red Sox game. I'm not saying you can't have Paxton shares too. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying maybe you have the one lineup that's got Jorge Lopez in it, because I think that's a possibility there in this one.
Striking guys out, Joe. He's striking guys out. 11.8 swinging strike percentage. He struggles with the home runs, but he definitely
that order with Mondesi and Merrifield and Dozier's been hitting well, and Soler, and it's not great, but it's better than people are giving it credit for.
It's much better than last year.
So it's just depends on which Paxton we're going to get. And so far, I'm not confident right now in 2019 which Paxton's going to show up. Kyle Gibson and Dylan Bundy, another one where you would imagine there's some home runs to be hit in this game. So everything, again, we said on Saturday, carry over again for the Sunday slate.
Yeah, Bundy's brutal.
Steven Strasburg in the 1 o'clock games, too, against Trevor Richards. I hate him, but Steven Strasburg it is. I'm going to go down to this well again. I will be. Yeah.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to go down there. I mean, I know he's been disappointing, especially the last one. He was rolling against.
I hate to say it, dude, but honestly, outside of Colin McHugh, who we're going to get to later, I don't know if there's a pitcher I like more on this 1 o'clock slate
than Strasburg.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it. I mean, everything applies. Yeah. I mean, he has the potential to obviously win you a tournament. He really does. It's just 1 or 2 innings I find with Strasburg, especially this season. Like I said, he was cruising against San Fran. All of a sudden he walks a couple, boom, a home run. And then he's in trouble, and, he loses the potential win. But, in Miami, spacious ballpark, you got to like Strasburg too.
Yeah. You just got to go there. You can get 6 innings out of him there. I think it's fine. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. That's what I'm looking for Strasburg. That'll do it. And I think it's the safest one, especially when you consider later on here, you get Archer coming back against San Fran. Everybody knows I'm not a big Archer fan. Ronaldo Lopez, he's been lit up. So again, here we go. We keep talking about this all weekend. Friday, we talked about it. We just talked about it in the first half of the show. White Sox, Detroit. There's got to be runs in one of these games, or all of these games here, because there's opportunity, because the pitchers here, we're going to see a lot of that, and still Detroit doesn't know who they're starting on Sunday.
Right.
So there's still a lot of questions there with that. Then you go into David Price and Tyler Glasnow, and you look at this one. Okay, I'm going to pose it to you first. Pick one. Who do you like better, Glasnow or David Price in this matchup?
I like Price. I like
Okay.
Price just a little bit more because the Rays are striking out. Like as solid as they've been offensively and getting some home runs, they still have a high K rate. It's one of the two. I'll actually stay away from it altogether. But if I'm going to choose one, it probably will be Price.
I'm going to stay away from them too because I do think this is one of those coin flips where you're right or wrong. There's no in between. So it's not a good investment, but I'm going to go the other route. I'm going to go Glasnow. Until Mookie Betts really starts coming around, and maybe
Really
this is the weekend he does, I just feel like he's, just that offense is kind of sputtering because he's not right. And when he gets right, we shall see. Now, Clayton Kershaw.
David Price is talking a lot. He better back it up on the mound. This guy's talking about
what else is
his recent quote about how JD and Mookie better pick it up. Will they be traded? It's like, I know you were being sarcastic, but just don't even say that kind of stuff because that's a ticket out.
He's always had a big mouth. He's an idiot. Yeah, when's he out? He's going to be the first guy out the door.
Yeah, settle down, Price.
Clayton Kershaw had a good first return here. Now he's going to go to Milwaukee and have to face this lineup in that building, which is not fun.
No.
So I guess the question is, you're not going to get a discount on Kershaw. It ain't happening, kids. It's just not happening. So don't expect it. Don't look for it. Do you take it because you like the fact that the ownership might be slightly lower because of the matchup? Look, Strasburg has his warts. Syndergaard has had his warts this year too. We're going to get to him in a second.
Yeah.
Is Clayton Kershaw actually worth the look because the ownership might be low because of how good the Brewers have been in that building so far?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I mean, we're talking about one of the better pitchers in baseball when he's fully healthy. And his first start, he went 7 innings. Like, I was pretty surprised. I thought maybe he would just go 4 or 5. Yeah, I mean, he had 6 strikeouts. He didn't walk anybody. He allowed 2 runs. He allowed a home run, obviously, to Puig in the first inning, and then he settled down. He was fine. So the fact that we just saw Urias go in there and pitch a gem and rack up some strikeouts, there's no question that I think the Kershaw can do that. Another lefty. I know Milwaukee has success. There's some guys in that lineup that can hit lefties. Obviously, Yelich and Kane, Brian Braun, of course. But, yeah, I'll take the chance going into Milwaukee and maybe a little bit of a low ownership for sure.
I don't love this matchup for Syndergaard. I mean, this is a good lineup, and he's given up 9 runs in his last 2 starts, and I don't know.
I can't figure him out, Joe.
I love the talent of Syndergaard, and he's got to be very frustrating for fantasy owners. I don't own any Syndergaard shares this year in season long.
Me neither.
But as a Mets fan, I am always rooting for him because I love the guy. I think he's great. It's very frustrating because this is a guy who should be dominating, and I don't know why he's not more consistent. And that's the thing. It's the inconsistencies and the price tag. You're not giving me a discount on the inconsistency, so I'm going to fade away from it. I do. Yeah. I mean, then we got the 2 lefties, Robbie Ray and Quintana, squaring up there in the afternoon in Chicago. And Quintana very good in his last start. I'll take Quintana in this one in the coin flip. Again, though, I think this is one of those – I don't feel as strongly about running away from this one as I did that Boston Rays game.
Right.
But for this one, I think Quintana is the one way I will lean, and I think there might be something to gain here as a secondary pitcher against the Diamondbacks at home here for the Cubs.
I like Quintana. I like him a lot. Look at his starts in his first start this season in Texas, 4 scoreless, 8K. I'll skip over his second one. His third one against Pittsburgh, 7 scoreless, 11K. Then his last one against Miami, 7 scoreless, 7K. So 3 of his 4 outings have been scoreless. He's given up 8 earned runs. That one start came in Milwaukee where he allowed 3 home runs and gave up 8 earned runs in 3 innings. Like, let's give him a pass there. The other 3, he's been brilliant. So I like this spot. Diamondbacks got some guys that swing and miss in their lineup, and I don't like Robbie Ray at all. I'm not a fan of his. Like, I think he's overrated. Guys are waiting for him to come around. Like, he just walks way too many guys.
Too inefficient.
Too many home runs. So I think the Cubs will have success against them, which will, give Quintana a good shot to get a win.
All right, Colin McHugh and Strasburg are my favorite 2 pitchers on this slate here, and look, I'll pay whatever the cost is for McHugh. We talked about him last time he was on. We were all over Colin McHugh. We were right about that. We cashed everywhere with him, and you should. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The guy, talking about another guy who's pitched really well this year, and there were some people who were skeptical that last year he couldn't do it. Just because he was good in the bullpen didn't mean it was going to translate. Well, guess what? You're wrong. It's translating, and Shelby Miller is certainly going to help him out. So definitely like him. And on that Shelby Miller note, too, we talked earlier in the week on Friday, or should I say, or in the weekend, about those Astros bats. There you go again. This is a great spot here for Correa and Brantley and some of those other guys to kind of, keep coming around here. maybe the cheaper end of those bats in the middle of that Houston Astro order.
For sure. I mean, I got to imagine, eventually these guys like Brantley and Correa are going to jump up to where they're. I mean, it's just so much disrespect, I feel like, for both of those guys. I mean, Brantley is near the top in plate appearances with guys on base and guys in scoring position, and it's because of guys like Altuve and Springer at the top of that lineup. So, absolutely. And McHugh, I don't know why people disrespect him, but he has a career 3.81 ERA in just under 800 innings. Like, this guy has been a dominant pitcher, whether it's out of the pen or he's a starter. He's
always had talent. It's always a matter of him, putting it all together. And look, some guys figure it out later than others, and he's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get involved in this Colorado game with John Gray and Jared Eichhoff, I'm going to go back to my first start here of Jorge Lopez. I think that's your guy. Like that's your dude. You troll James Paxton in the Yankee lineup and how bad they've been in Yankee Stadium against teams they're supposed to beat. And that's going to allow you to go into this game. And I can understand wanting a lot of pieces in this game, especially in the daytime. Because the ball's going to be jumping on there. So I think that's the guy that makes this work here. And that means Harper, and that means Rhys Hoskins, and that means all those, you can go and dance with the big boys if you go all the way down and get a Jorge Lopez.
Yeah, there's going to be some runs scored in this game for sure.
And it's not often you get that, right, Chris, where you get a guy where you're like, you know what, this is not crazy, but the price is clearly a discount. We're talking a big discount pitcher, and I like it. It's just nobody's paid attention to that guy. And look, if it busts, it busts. But at the same time, you might have enough offense where even if he's just mediocre, it might carry you at least to some pay lines potentially.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think that this may, obviously it's easy to say, and Core is maybe the highest scoring game, but it's a good chance.
Well, I mean, it's hard not to think it's going to be the highest scoring one. It really,
right.
With those two guys and the way that, like it's kind of just due, it's like, it's going to come to a head here. You got Mike Leake going against the Angels, Aaron Sanchez against Brett Anderson, Tyler Mahle against Lucchesi, Max Fried against Shane Bieber in the night game. So taking the night game out of it here, Tyler Mahle's pitched okay this year, but it's not something I'm in love with. Lucchesi, though, again, I'm looking for Suarez, another lefty. So you get all these lefties, and I'm waiting for, Puig's gotten better, but I'm waiting for Suarez to break out. I want this to be the Suarez weekend, so I'm going to be getting it on that before everybody else does, and I think these are the guys to do it with. And Lucchesi's not bad. It's just
no, he's not. No, that'll be amazing. The third straight game that'll be for Cincy against San Diego with a lefty. Yeah, I mean we mentioned Suarez and Kemp and Puig and Votto for Friday, Saturday. Why not continue to roll? Hopefully they have some success on those nights, and they carry it into Sunday. But yeah, I mean, why not? And I think there's an opportunity to jump on. I know I keep tossing out Andrelton Simmons, but he's a high contact guy going up against a high contact pitcher, Mike Leake. So it's just a standalone play. I'm not saying to stack the Angels, but you want to get a cheap option at shortstop. This is your guy right there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, too. It's also worth paying attention to the A's against Sanchez, too. I think at home on Sunday, you might see a little bit there from them. Anything else in these last couple games here between Angels, Mariners, Blue Jays, A's, and Reds, Padres that you like?
Not really. I do like the Reds.
It's very easy, I feel like, to focus on Sunday. Sunday is I think a much easier focus day than Saturday. Saturday's got a lot more you could choose from.
Absolutely. Sunday's always a little bit tricky with some lineups. You get some guys, get the rest in there. Who knows? If some of the studs are going to be able to play. But I don't know who's starting that Angels game, but I can guarantee you he's not going to be good. So Seattle is going to be I'm going to continue to ride them this weekend, and there might be an opportunity for San Diego too. I mentioned Margot earlier this week. Top the order for the Padres. He's getting more at bats. He's got some sneaky power, got some speed, set the table for some other guys in there.
All right, so let's call our shot for the weekend. We're just going to open it up.
Ooh.
So who's the guy that's going to go yard this weekend? So you got 2 days here to be right or wrong about it. Like I said, we're batting 500 so far in the year doing this. That's pretty good, all things considered. So you got anybody that sticks out over the weekend to you as you go through the slates? If you say, yep, that's the guy, that's my dude, it's happening for that.
Let's see. Let's go with Cruz. Let's go. Okay. I'll go with Cruz on Saturday against Dan Straley. He's going to take him yard.
All right. I'm going to go. Well, you don't have to give the day, but I'll take that. I'm going to take Mr. Soto against Urena. That's where I'm going. I want Mr. Juan Soto to go yard on Saturday. He's heating up, baby. He's getting hot. Woo!
Yes.
That's what you want to do. And along with the podcast, make sure you are downloading and using the LineStar app. It's again, one of the best tools out there for daily fantasy. You really should upgrade to the premium product because for $15 a month, it is brilliant. If you're somebody that's even spending $50 to $100, if you want to make sure you're getting that money back and growing that money, it's the way to do it. You go over there, you download the app, and you upgrade to the optimizer of the higher end package rather, and it's just all the tools are in there. It's so easy to go listen to the pod. Go ahead and pair that along with all the great data and information there and make good decisions and put yourself in a position to succeed because that's what it's all about. We hope everybody has a great holiday weekend. I will be on vacation next week with my kids. And by vacation, I mean a trip to Universal because vacation really is like me on a beach with someone bringing me cocktails. This is like a trip. This is more work. There's rides and you got to wait online and you got to, take care of everybody all the time. So it's more of a trip. It's a vacation for them. It's a trip for me, but Chris will be flying here with some of the LineStar boys on first couple of days of the week, but Don't worry. I'll be back, and Friday we'll be back on our regular pace. So we appreciate you listening to the program. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe anywhere that you listen to podcasts because we are everywhere.
Yes, give us a review too. It'll help, help the
That's
podcast.
right. I mean, it's the holidays, do something nice. Give us a nice review. I mean, come on.
Right.
That's right. All right. So that'll do it for me and Chris Meaney. And there's only one thing left to do, and that's step out of the on-deck circle, step into the batter's box, and go yard. We'll see you next time, kids.
You've been listening to the DFS On Deck podcast, brought to you by LineStar. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, and stay tuned for the next episode from fantasy baseball experts Joe Pisapia and Chris Meaney.